Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another fantastic episode of Hospitality. You know, you have to say it like that every time. Hospitality, where we are seeking to put a face to the hospitality industry by bringing you professionals in every aspect of the industry. One of the things I just wanted to share with you today, I don't know if you all were aware, it was released information that was released just last night. There is a city in China near Beijing that has in fact been quarantined, the entire city because of the extreme outbreak of the Delta variant. So I know a lot of us have gotten really lax and started to travel more and be hashtag outside, all that. But let's still make sure that we remember that there is still a pandemic, that there are still people out here that are dealing with a lot. So I want to also let you know although this is the last Monday of October, which is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, that hospitality is definitely in support of hashtag finding a cure. I know cancer in any of its form is never good, and it affects many families, namely, especially mine, even right now. But we definitely send love and encouragement and light, and definitely to encourage those that are warriors that are continuing to fight and those that live in our memory. So definitely, hospitality is in support of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, y'all, now you knew that tonight and anytime on this podcast, Hospitality, I'm just a little girl from Little Rock. I would never resist the temptation of bringing onto this show amazing people that are in my home state, home city, which is Little Rock, Arkansas, to let you know some different things about hospitality and some ways that you can spice up your events, not just by taste, but by the presentation. I want to make sure that you know two people. So I'm going to shrink a little bit of my beginning information so that we can get to them. I want to let you know about two of the fantastic people that I have here. But first, I want to just show you a little something. Listen, I know you weren't ready. You weren't ready. I probably should have warned you that it was going to be that fly, but I'm going to warn you that the rest of the show is going to be even better. There's a lot of information that these distinguished individuals will be sharing and a lot of tips and excellence about their company. So I really want you to stay tuned. The first person that we are bringing on the screen to just chat up about is the dynamic Mr. Christopher Harden Parker. This gentleman happens to be part of my family that I absolutely adore. But let me give you a little backstory. Christopher was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, quickly taking to cooking and entertaining friends at fabulous parties. He knew that was part of his path. Chris gives credit to the Most High God, of course, give it to the Lord, for all his blessings and bestowing all this pure natural talent upon him. Okay. Chris found love and relocated to Little Rock, Arkansas in 2012. What began as baking a cake for his grandma in Grandma in Love quickly flourished to a business. That's how a lot of great businesses start. The word spread like wildfire, y'all. I'm here to let you know the caramel cake, get with it. And everyone had to order. Shortly after, Craze Events was born. He began making cakes for small birthdays and intimate gatherings to now making wedding cakes and advertising at bridal shows. So wedding cakes, amazing cakes. Craze has been blessed to have cakes travel to Memphis, Dallas, and Conway, just to name a few. So if you're in the general area, he can get to you. But as a company, we are most excited to introduce our full intimate event design packages. So he does cakes and events. With this experience, clients are able to create an ambiance for their special event with the most trending and professional design styles today. The goal is to ultimately become your one-stop shop for everything. So I am here to introduce to you. I want to share a couple of different things with you so you know what the logo looks like. That is Craze Events and some of his amazing cakes. And he does wedding cakes and even fun ones too. So let me go ahead and introduce you to the fantastic, the dynamic Christopher Harden Parker. Hello, sir.
Hello, good people.
Yes. How are you today?
I am blessed. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm so honored that you are here, and it is definitely a blessing to have you here on Hospitality.
I am honored to be here.
Yes. So talk to me, Cake Craze Events. I mean, you started by making a cake for your grandmother in love, and
One person.
one person. What was the flavor of that cake?
If I can remember correctly, I know lemon was somewhere in the mix
Somewhere
because
in the
that's
mix.
her favorite.
I
And
love it.
that's where it started.
Wow. So once that took off, had you always, you said you always had a desire for amazing events and cakes and things like that. What started you like really getting in the kitchen and doing it more than just for a family? Because I'm still waiting on the caramel cake. What?
Well, it came very early on because my mom cooks.
Okay.
She bakes. That's what she does. That was her 9 to 5.
Wow.
Holidays were a very big deal in my family. So I just took a liking to baking and cooking and being around her in the kitchen. And I've always been a Food Network fanatic.
Yes.
So it just it started there and me going into the kitchen, just trying different things. And it completely started from just a hobby and something that I enjoy doing to a very lucrative business.
Wow. Wow. So let me ask you this. A lot of times people start with doing things and they just fun stuff. Did you have to take a lot of classes or what made you such an expert? Because let me just share with you guys some more of these pictures because if you are not with it, I'm sorry. That wedding cake, listen, that's beautiful.
Absolutely. And I did my own wedding cake.
See, listen, that's one-stop shopping.
Exactly. But that's where it started. It started from me doing that one cake.
Okay.
And people left that particular gathering party and it spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
Friends of people that were there started to order cakes. Then that led to them telling other people.
Right.
So it grew very quickly, and I found myself in the kitchen baking almost every single weekend.
Wow. So you
Um,
enjoy it.
Absolutely. So it got to a point to where I was like, hey, this could probably be something other than just
Hobby.
something I do in my spare time.
Right. Right.
So thought long and hard about it, prayed about it, and here we are today.
Wow. That's amazing. So on average, how many cakes do you think you bake a week or how many do you get out to people?
Um, I try not to look at it weekly. I would say
Okay.
monthly.
Okay.
Monthly, I probably send out due to my other workload, which we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Uh, but due to that, I would say I send out anywhere between maybe 20 to 30 cakes, close to it, on a good month.
Say that again, maybe how many in a month?
Maybe about 20 to 30 in a good month.
Wow. That's quite a few.
That's a lot.
That is a lie, and I bet your home smells heavenly. I'm just gonna
Oh
say
my God. My favorite
smells
flavor to
heavenly.
bake is white chocolate almond. And
Really?
I wish I could put it into a candle, and which that's something that we'll talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that can be done because I'm just saying Cake Craze events can branch out and do not just events and food and ambiance. It can create the signature smell. So speaking of which, let's move forward. You branched out and took the cakes and the decorating and things like that into an entire event design company. How did that come about?
Well, I've always had a liking for decorating family events, birthday
Mhm.
parties. I've always had a liking for it. So it's something
Okay.
that I've always done.
Right.
Just so happened Cake Craze started as cakes, and which wasn't initially the plan. But hey, sometimes you just got to roll with the punches.
That's right.
Um,
You do.
so with doing cakes, planning my wedding, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what? I can do this. We're going to start in enough time. We're going to get it done. So I literally laid out my entire wedding from beginning to end.
Okay.
Then I got to the ending process and I'm like, wait, if I'm getting married, I'm not going to be able to execute all of this the day of. So I had to hire a day of coordinator,
Right.
which that quickly turned into a business relationship with me shadowing the company, which is Kimber Decor Events here in Little Rock, also.
Shout out to
Um,
Kimber Decor.
yes, absolutely. So it started with me working and shadowing her and just really tapping into those things that I've always enjoyed.
Right.
And luckily, me and Kim, which is the owner, had such a great relationship. She understood exactly what it was that I was trying to do going into it. So now
Right.
it's time for me to, kind of spread my wings and tap into that other side of things that I have absolutely always adored.
I love that. Let me ask you this because, that's what this show is about, hospitality, right? We want to talk
Yes.
about the many aspects of hospitality. And one of the aspects that people don't realize is when they come to you, they kind of say, here's everything. And you
Oh,
have to come
yes.
up with a design or an idea. What's your process of coming up with an event design?
Literally, you have to get all of those main details up front. What's
Okay.
your date? The season plays a major part into decor.
Okay.
Flowers. Certain flowers aren't available certain times of the year.
True.
So all of those things are a major factor into your overall design.
Okay.
But I basically just ask for what do you envision? And
Mm.
most times I have clients, I tell them, close your eyes and think about yourself walking into that space on that special day. What do
Mm.
you see?
What do you see? Yes.
Everything. And as they talk, I have a pen and paper and I am writing. And I try
Okay.
and bring as many of those elements into their vision as possible. That's still within their budget, and you can still live comfortably after,
That's
which is
important to ask.
another major factor.
Very major because a lot of people go broke for the wedding, then they like, we gonna live in this car. Me and you
Absolutely.
in this car. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So let me ask you this. When you go through and put the design together and you talk about the budget, how do you personally source particular vendors that will help you to meet their budget? Because some vendors, I mean, some like flowers and stuff, like you said, they aren't in season. Where do you go to get different aspects of the design? Like I see what you have in the background behind you. Did you create that?
I did. I actually did
What?
this today with just some things that I had in, storage and inventory already.
Wait a minute. That stuff that you just did today.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, maybe about 2 hours ago.
Wow. Y'all. And this is how long would it take you to create something like that?
When I'm not working in overtime, particular install would normally take anywhere maybe 2.5 to 3 hours.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic. So go ahead. Tell me. That's amazing. It's beautiful. Very
Thank
classy.
you. Thank
Luxury.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, you were talking about different vendors that you use to make
Absolutely.
your
So when clients reach out to me, it is my job. Not only are you trusting me,
right.
I have to outsource people to come in and do things that I may not offer.
Okay.
Or if your design scale is so large, I have to solely pay attention to those small details so
Mm-hmm.
that I can convey your image over and I have someone else in the background working on maybe lighting or draping. And
Right.
with those particular things, as much as you're trusting me, I have to have that same trust in those other vendors that I am outsourcing.
Makes
So,
sense.
up front, reputation is everything for me. I stand by and I stand firm on your first impression is your last impression.
Good point. Good point. Your first impression is your last impression. That
Absolutely.
is powerful. So tell me this. I have it scrolling across the bottom. Kate Craze events. You can check it out and look at the business page on Facebook, right? And I want
Yes.
to show people your brand again. Tell them how they can start by how they can contact you and what's the first thing they would need to do. Like where all can they see your work?
Absolutely. So if you go to Kate Craze Events LLC on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
type that in there. I have a business page. Pretty much all of the work that we have done, which that page is actually being updated with some more recent things, but
Okay.
there is still plenty for you to view as of now. There
Okay.
is a message box there. You can then send an inquiry for anything you may need. Um, from there, someone will get back with you. You'll get further instructions. And we do everything from cakes to small private events, birthday dinners, baby showers, whatever it is, we can do it.
So basically, you saying if you got an event, call us.
One stop.
One stop shopping. I
Absolutely.
love it. I wanted to share with the people a couple of pictures that I pulled an event you did literally a couple days ago, and what you were talking about the season and the weather. Tell me
Yes.
just a little bit about that for us to wrap it up.
So I did this event Saturday in Dallas, Texas. And that's another thing. We travel also. So
Yes.
we traveled to Dallas, Texas, and did this 40th birthday dinner. The
Mm-hmm.
client wanted black, white, accented with gold.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple and clean decor palette. So I basically utilized, and thankfully it was a gorgeous day. As you can see, the sky was
Yes.
impeccable.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was absolutely
Unbelievable.
gorgeous. It was
Yes.
absolutely gorgeous. He loved it and everything went as planned. We had to make a few minor changes due
Okay.
to the wind being very disrespectful.
Okay.
But hey, we made it work and the client was pleased. We got to travel and show our talents in another state. So I'm thankful for that.
I love it. I see how even here you were lighting the candles and things like that, and it turned
Yes,
into an evening event. Very,
that
very
nightfall
nice.
ambiance is everything.
I love it. Well, Christopher Harden Parker with Kate Craze Events. I want you to stand by because I'm going to bring you back on a little bit later while I bring another amazing event extraordinaire in my hometown of Little Rock, aka Big Rock City. Okay. And yeah, just giving a shout out to you, Kate Craze Events.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stand
Thank
by
you.
because we're going to bring you back on too. All
I'll
right.
be here.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. Guys, okay, listen, if you are in the area of Little Rock or remotely close, I want you to know about Kate Craze events. Definitely. I'm going to make sure that I bring, first of all, I don't want you to doubt that amazing things come out of Little Rock. Me, hello. But just want you to know that there is hospitality and excellence everywhere. So The next amazing gentleman that I will bring here for your viewing pleasure and knowledge is the amazing George Christopher Heyman. Let me share with you about this gentleman. George, actually, he and I have known each other since junior high, and the excellence, like, y'all, I'm just saying, the people that I bring to the show are people that I know and I can vouch for, that are excellent in their fields in any and every way. So I want you to know that. But I am bringing here George Christopher Heyman. Let me tell you a little bit about him. First of all, he does everything. He's a comedic writer and former comedian. And he was funny in junior high too. So I know that's grown into bigger things. He's always had a passion for uniting people, which is true. And there was no greater tool in his arsenal than his culinary talent, because everyone loves good food, okay? Establishing his food conversation initiative via his company Whiskey Inspir8tions in the winter of 2018. He began with small catering events He began with small catering gatherings, meal preparations, and cooking demonstrations to now being a highly in demand curator of culinary entertainment. Let me just say that again, because that just sounds so good. He is When he began in 2018, he began with small catering gatherings, meal preparations, and cooking demonstrations to now being a highly in demand curator of culinary entertainment. George Christopher was recently featured on Fox 16 right there in Little Rock, the Food Spotlight, where he explained how he started cooking with his I had to eat. It's so true. With his I had to eat mentality, it has morphed into him taking his customers on a food journey with his exquisite cuisines. His unique blends of flavor profiles are definitely the right catalyst to get everyone having a hashtag food conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me please introduce you to George Christopher Heyman. Hello, sir.
Sister friend, how are you?
Yes, I'm wonderful. Look at how life brings us full circle.
Right.
I am so honored that you are here today on this podcast talking about Whiskey Inspir8tions.
Right. Thank you for having me. It is absolutely my pleasure. And I'm going to put this out there now.
Okay.
You have not changed. Ageless wonder. Ageless wonder. I believe that I'm going to let you handle your business, but go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, friend. Always. So listen, let's back up a little bit. You comedic writer and comedian that branched off into being a culinary expert. Talk to me about that transition.
Well, I got off the road full time in 16.
Okay.
So I got all this energy. I needed to settle down around the time getting ready to get married.
Okay.
Like, I settle down a little bit.
Right.
But I still had all of this energy.
Yes.
That's a creative energy that I needed to do something with.
Right.
Now, I've always cooked. But around that winter of 17, 18, that's when I really began to streamline that comedic energy into my culinary talent.
Okay.
And it started small. It started for me. And then it just kind of morphed into, where we are today.
Wow, which is amazing because y'all, let me show you some of this food. First of all, let's start here. Listen, wait, I want to show you some of the things. And Chris, I want you to tell me exactly what it is so the people's mouths can water. Talk to me about this.
Okay, now this is a brunch dish. It's just a simple filet mignon.
Simple. Okay.
With a roasted onion and a hash brown crisp that I use a homemade, that's a honey mustard dressing that I make just to drizzle over the top.
Oh, it looks delicious. What about that?
Now that is a shrimp jambalaya stuffed bell pepper.
Shrimp jambalaya stuffed bell pepper.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You know,
But
people gaining calories just looking at the screen, right?
but you got to keep in mind though, yeah, I've got two versions of that one. One with
Okay.
brown rice, one with brown rice, so we can cut back on the carbs.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's about portion control. You don't
Yes.
have to eat all the bell pepper.
You it's the bell
Eat a
pepper
piece of
part
it.
that's the healthy part. It's the bell pepper. That's the healthy part.
That's the healthy part. Right.
Wow. So look, before we go into more, talk to me. You have always been a cook. What made you put it out there for other people to sample and to cook for others?
Well, I was putting it out there to
Mm-hmm.
document it for myself.
Okay.
That's how it started.
Okay.
So with this new thing, I'm not gonna put our ages out there,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
I'm right.
that ain't necessary.
But for me, I was just putting it out there to document it for myself.
Okay.
But when with the age of social media, people are gonna inquire.
That's true.
So I'm like, oh, do you meal prep? Like, sure, I can. My thing is, yeah, I'll help you.
Right.
That's what. Okay, so now I'm helping. A group of friends. They
Okay.
tell a group. Now I have a dinner party.
Mm.
Oh, like you want me? Okay. And so I had to begin to take it more serious. I've always taken the cooking aspect of it very seriously.
Right.
But now I noticed where people were really needing help cultivating events
Okay.
because there's a lot of different options that people have, but people don't feel comfortable having the hard conversation sometimes.
Right.
So because of the relationship that was had, because of the relationship that I would have with a lot of the people, I was easier to talk to,
Right.
and so I'm like I would always tell them, listen, I'm just a country cook. Now I study my craft.
Right.
Well, but I'm not. I didn't go to the Juilliard of cooking. I learned in my mama's kitchen
Yes.
how to get down.
Right. And how to get down. And coming from
How to get
Arkansas,
down.
that's what we do in the kitchen. You get
Right.
down. So let me ask you this. What are some of the techniques that you use when people come to you and say things like, I want to have a dinner party. I don't know what to have. What are your go-to dishes?
Well, I'm going to eventually make them tell me what their go-to dish is.
Oh, okay.
And how I do that is, let's talk about your last vacation.
Okay.
Let's talk about the
Yeah.
trip. So
Pre-COVID.
pre, pre the vid.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite meal? What did you like about the meal? What
Mm.
was it? What did you experience when you had it?
Uh-huh.
So now I'm taking all of this information in on what you're telling me, and maybe you don't have a recent experience,
Okay.
but during our conversation about food, I'm able to gauge things that you like and things that you don't like. If you're
Mm.
able to articulate your vision, then what I'm doing is cultivating a vision for you. So I end up giving several options. Now, based on your budget, and for me, I really try to help people where the budget, because of COVID, a lot
Okay.
of budgets have a lot of budgets have changed,
Yes.
and funds had to be redirected in other places.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that you still didn't want to entertain or be entertained.
Okay.
So what I've really focused on is helping people who didn't necessarily have the high end budget that they once had, but still wanted to cultivate a particular journey. So to make it full circle, go to dishes. I'll offer them my menu to let them see, what looks
Okay.
good first. Well, I've
Okay.
never had it, but it looks good. So I always like to give samples first.
Yeah.
Let's see what you get.
Right.
Now, it may look good to you, but you haven't tasted it, so let's figure out if you like it.
Right.
Because I want the host, I want you to like it too.
That's important.
So, right.
Well, let me ask you this. There are so many different diets out here now, pescatarian and gluten-free. And, I'm just eating rocks and tree bark. Like how do you work within that? Like when people come to you and say, hey, I want to have a dinner party for 10 people, 3 are pescatarian, 2 are vegetarian, 1 is vegan, blah, blah, blah. How do you work all of that into what you're doing?
I'm going to be honest with you.
You say somebody gonna eat meat tonight.
What I do is I know a lot of people I can recommend you for.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really depends.
Right.
Like I can handle a vegan dish.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that.
Right.
But there's so many different variants. If we're talking about 10 people and then you got 10 different meals that would have to do, it's me and my wife. My wife
right.
and I. So
yes.
I don't really
Shout
have
out to her, the amazing woman.
So I know people to recommend.
Right.
And within this community in Little Rock, we're all pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, I tell you what, that's not really my expertise, but let me hook you up with so and so.
Yes. That's important. That's really important. And when you say that community there in Little Rock, that is really great to be, connected so that you can all know who to refer to different people that do specific things. So let me ask you this. What's the next step for Whiskey Inspirations? I want to make sure people know that right there. That's what your logo is. Fantastic. What is the next step for you? Are you wanting to branch out bigger? How can people contact you? And all of that.
Well, to contact, you can reach me on Facebook. Simple George Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Whiskey Inspirations. My email address is the whiskeyinspirations@yahoo.com.
Okay, let me put that on there so people can know. Whiskey Inspirations and with the 8, correct? All right. I love it. So when you branched off and started doing, I want to ask this question because it's really important to me. What are some of the recipes that you grew up with that you incorporate into what you're doing now? Are there some that you say, okay, I can make you this jambalaya because this is my mom's recipe? Like, do you carry that through your business now?
I carry the spirit of those recipes. My mama kicked me out the kitchen. Okay. I was messing up the plans in the kitchen. But what I did was I did pay attention.
Okay.
So I carry the spirit. And here's the thing that I understood about my mother and her mother before her. Anytime they went into the kitchen, they went in with love. And if you start with love, hopefully the love is received.
Yeah.
And so any dish that I cook, any meal prep that I do, any cooking class that I teach, I'm doing that from a place of love.
Very nice.
So that's the main recipe that I'm putting into every dish that I make for someone.
That's excellent. You mentioned cooking classes. Touch on that a little bit.
Well, that happened once COVID hit. People were needing, everybody asked for a recipe.
Sure.
I have no problem sharing. I'm very much an open book. Anything that you see in the post from an event, I'm going to give out that information.
Right.
So they would try the recipe and it didn't come out right.
Okay.
Well, what are you doing? So in a situation like we are now on the podcast, I'm like, okay, call me.
Yeah.
And that's how the cooking classes started.
Wow.
And let me talk. No, don't do that. Turn that camera around so I can stop.
Let me see.
It ain't on the recipe.
Do not pour that salt until your ancestors say stop it.
Right.
Right.
But that's where that really came from.
Right. I absolutely love it. I love that you're there and you're taking your mother's spirit into every session with every single client. I think that's amazing. And I am so glad that you are here. Like we said here, Whiskey Inspirations, you can definitely reach him on Facebook, George Christopher, and Whiskey Inspirations. What was the email address again?
Whiskeyinspirations@yahoo.com.
at yahoo.com. Now, guys, I want to bring both of these distinguished gentlemen on here because I want to talk about it real quick. First of all, let me let you all understand that what you're looking at right here is Little Rock. This is Arkansas. It's the touch of Memphis up in there. Can't forget Memphis. But this is Little Rock. All three of us are bringing the South here to you, podcasting, cooking, decorating, creating. And we really want you to understand that there in the community in Little Rock, Arkansas, there is a lot of excellence. I definitely want you for your next event to reach out to Cake Craze, to reach out Cake Craze events, and to reach out to Whiskey Inspir8tions, because they will help to take your event to a whole nother level. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I want to bring both of you on here, of course, because I want to talk about something that that has, I'm sure, come across both of you all's plate. Okay. I want you to dish on things like what makes a vendor a reputable vendor. Not just saying, oh, my cousin can cook, or my cousin can great. Like, I really want y'all to talk about this because this is your business. Like, y'all can go for it. What makes somebody a reputable vendor? What should people look for when they're looking for decorators, for food, for cakes, for anything? Y'all talk about it.
Well, I would say to start, definitely take your time and do proper research. You can learn a lot about a person and their business by simply reading reviews. Oh. That is my number one go-to. Because when you're dealing with reviews, you're not getting somebody telling you something that, oh, this is my good friend, and they're automatically going to hype you up.
Right.
You're
That's
getting real deal opinions from real deal people that have paid their hard-earned money for a service.
Right.
So they're going to give you their honest opinion.
That's so true. And both of you all do a part that goes into people's stomachs.
Absolutely.
First of all, y'all together on one event would kill the game.
Hey, let's make it happen.
Y'all need to partner up. You got sweet, savory, you got the events. Listen, okay?
This is literally a one-stop shop.
Right, for real. I do want to piggyback on something brother just spoke on as far as the review. Here's another aspect of the review that I don't think people think about. When you're dealing with a vendor and when their friends are silent about their business.
Come on.
Sometimes your friends are supporting you by not saying anything. That could be a red, what they say, a red flag.
Flag on the play.
I live on the play. Yes.
The friends, if I can't use brother for a cake, and they know that we cook, okay, you see? These are the things that you have to look at.
That's right.
Because money's too hard to come by.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Time we cannot get back. So we need to vet vendors to make sure we're getting a full bang for the buck.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And those that are watching here, I want you to know this is a live podcast. You can type in your questions so that we can see them and respond right now. If you have questions about events, about planning them, anything, this is your time because you have two experts in the field. So you guys, I've worked in the hospitality industry about 2 decades. I do the event planning, hotels, citywides, that kind of thing. So I do that aspect. So deadlines are really big for me.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about deadlines, especially since both of you have to source the food, you have to make sure you have, all the decorations. Like, talk about how important deadlines are when you make contracts and agreements with people. George, go ahead. I was going to see if George want to start first on that one.
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Ms.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
I'm absolutely big on deadlines. And one reason why It's because with COVID being still
Mm-hmm.
present and thriving, especially with decor,
Mm-hmm.
with with the direction and the elevation of decor, a lot of things have to be ordered. And a
Yes.
lot of that stuff comes from overseas.
Mm.
So if we're not sticking to deadlines and you're not making payments on time, then that hinders you from getting those items that you really do want,
Right.
because it's we don't just wake up and snap our fingers and everything is done.
What? You
There
don't
is so,
just snap and
of
everything's
course
done?
not.
Give me a break.
There's so much and so many logistics that go on behind the scene that the
Right.
client doesn't see. And sticking to those deadlines not only ensures that you get exactly what you're paying for,
Mm-hmm.
but you're making things a lot easier for the people that you have hired to pull this off.
That's right.
So it's all about taking everyone's time, everyone's effort into consideration.
That's a great point because with a hotel, the hotel's not going to pick up and move. You know what I mean? But you all
Right.
have to get the food in. Like George, like what goes on when like what's how far in advance do people need to let you know so you can actually get food? Because the supply
Well,
chain is crazy right now.
and that's my biggest issue right now is trying to
Mm-hmm.
get people to understand we're 19 months roughly into this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Supply chains haven't returned.
They have not.
So what normally post pre-pandemic I could say 2 weeks notice.
Right.
That I'm minimum 30 days now.
Right.
Minimum. There's a chicken wing shortage.
Listen,
Just,
I was thinking
just
about
as
the
an
chicken
example.
wings. What?
Just
To
as
the point where
just
what is
using
it?
that as an example.
Wing stop changed to thigh stop? Like it's that serious. They did. They started doing marketing, y'all, and they're selling thighs now.
Yeah, they're selling boneless thighs now. It ain't my thing,
But I
but
just
hey.
drove,
Right.
but I just drove past the farm and saw a bunch of chicken. That's neither here nor there.
Listen, that's
But
the chicken conference. Those are the elders of the chicken ministry. Okay.
but and to get them from that conference to the event,
Right.
I need as much time as possible. So
Mm-hmm.
people have to keep in mind that we're still omnipresent in the full blown pandemic.
Right.
Supply chains are not back to normal.
They're not.
So at this point, you have to let us know with as much advance notice as possible. And if there's going to be a change because things happen, you have to
Mm-hmm.
let us know as soon as possible.
Right.
Yes.
Especially, Mr. Parker just did an out of town trip.
Right.
I've had situations to where you on the road and you get there, oh well you didn't, and then all of a sudden something has changed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, well now that's going to affect your price.
Right.
absolutely.
Well, that
Now,
part, they don't expect it to. Yeah. But let's talk about pricing.
well, I'll start
Whew.
with that one. I again because things have changed now.
Sure.
Everybody money has changed, and I
Sure.
really try to work with everyone,
Of course.
especially. But a lot of times we have caviar wishes, but
Yes.
I stopped, money.
Yeah.
But we
Make
can
it
still
happen.
take your budget, and we can turn that into a real, for me, a culinary experience that
Mm-hmm.
that was going to match your budget, where
Right.
no one would
Absolutely.
know, where no one would know that you needed $25 a plate,
Sure.
but what you ended up with was $7 a plate.
Right.
Absolutely.
You would have never
Sure.
seen any fall off in the class behind the dish.
Yes.
Right.
But
And to
you have to have a real strong conversation with them up front.
Right.
that's what I was about. And to piggyback off of that, that's why it's very important for clients to be honest and realistic with that initial conversation. When you get that one question, and this is the problem that I find a lot,
Mm.
when you ask, what is your budget?
Mm.
So many people are quick to say, oh, I don't have a budget. Well, when you convey that you don't have a budget, that means you're ready to foot the bill for whatever it takes.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize the importance of having that conversation up front.
It's very
You
important. Yeah.
you have to be open, you have to be candid, you have to be honest.
Yes.
Your budget is the foundation for the success of your event. And with the way the world is now, kind of how George said, everyone is willing to accommodate in some sort of fashion
Right.
in the times now. So
Right.
if you're being honest and open and you're having that conversation up front, it saves a lot of misconceptions and hurt feelings in the end, I feel
Yes.
like.
That's a great, great point. Look, somebody has a question here that I want to share with you guys. You see there, it says, what is the number one item, like the number one thing that you love about what you do?
Well, for
I'll,
me,
I'll go first. I think the one thing that I love is being able to look at a blank canvas
Mm,
and completely transform that space into something the client wouldn't even imagine.
wow.
Just like me taking this regular corner in my
Listen.
spare recording room
Yes.
and amping it up for this interview.
I love it.
You and it's a matter of me just feeling my creative juices and
Right.
just going with my initial gut instinct.
Wow. George, what about you? Because people tasting stuff too.
for me, what I enjoy most is the food. It's just a conduit to the conversation.
Mm,
My food allows people to come together from all different walks of life.
mm-hmm.
The one thing that we all have in common is that we get hungry and we're gonna have to eat.
Come on
No matter
now.
what your,
You
regardless
better
of your
talk about
political
the go ahead.
background,
Absolutely.
Yes.
regardless of your political background, it doesn't matter.
That's
Eventually,
right.
you're going to get hungry and have to eat. So what
Mm-hmm.
I like to do is to make sure that I have put the most 5-star quality, high end, whatever it is with the meal that I'm doing,
Right.
to make sure that the meal is perfect to be the conduit for the conversation. Because
Wow.
I've seen so many people come together over a meal that would have never talked to each other in any
Really?
other line.
That's
The
very
meal that
true.
brought them together.
Wow. That y'all, those are fantastic answers. I mean, my goodness. I mean, creating things for people to create a memory because what you both do causes an emotion. It literally causes people to emote and to remember something amazing in their lives. The
Yes,
ambiance, the taste, the sounds, it's touching all the senses. You know what I mean? So that is
absolutely.
absolutely amazing. And guys, I know that there are a couple of, keep asking questions. We want to put them on the screen. You guys, have you ever well, let me back up just a little bit. When you were talking about creating, an ambiance, creating a memory, the hospitality of it all, I always tell people and remind them about the quote from Maya Angelou that says, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
You all go into different events, and you said, George, that you created with love from your mom. What are the things that you all like? Do you have a mental process that you go through individually to be able to do these things? Because when I get ready, like when someone's hosting an event at my hotel, right, my particular hotel or in my city, I make sure I go through it in my mind. I know these little things, and I put it on and go on out there and handle it because I want them to feel like everything is great. What is your process, and how does that process relate to times when you have to say no?
Having to say no. Well, to be honest, for me, Um, the no part is not a problem anymore
Okay.
because as I have grown, I love me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand me,
Mm-hmm.
my time, my worth. So sometimes everything I can't do everything, I can't be everything to everyone.
Right.
When I get the opportunity to say yes and we can work together, my process is I envision the plate. I
Yes.
kind of I kind of have a one focus on just I start with the plate and I'm thinking about how do I start from the appetizer? Am I taking them from the beach into the
Mm,
house, into the after party? It's just I kind of map it out on the plate. I have to see it first.
mm-hmm.
Normally I write it out and then I just start to create. But then I'm so focused. See, what Mr. Parker does is so amazing to me because he has so many different tentacles going everywhere else.
Right.
I am like just focused on my water's got to be at the right temperature. Do I have the oven at the right temperature?
Wow.
That's the only thing I'm thinking about, and I don't
Right.
want to deal with anything else.
Right.
Like, I'm a little bit of a tyrant in the kitchen,
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's your
so
space.
it's my space because I've got to have this has to be perfect
Right.
And
every time.
it's all equally important. And I think there's a lot more pressure on you as a caterer because the first thing that if somebody get a wedding invite or they attend a wedding, walking into that reception, the first thing it's the food.
Yes. Yes.
What do I smell? What's on the
Who cooking?
menu? There is a lot more pressure, I feel like, on the caterer than anything.
Wow. That's amazing how you all are both in a hospitality field and you see each other as even more challenging. Like, whereas, like, Chris, you being in the kitchen, that's your space. And George, I'm sorry, George, you being in the kitchen, that's your space. And Chris, you seeing the whole open palette of a room, your creativity just goes that way. It's amazing. Let me ask y'all this question. Somebody posted a really good question here. It says, if you could curate and Chris with K Craze, I want to y'all. It's challenging for me because I call them both Chris. But Chris with K Craze, I want to get back to your process and you saying no in a minute as well. But this
Okay.
question: if you could curate any event or meal for anyone, either dead or alive, what would it be? Who, what, or who would that event or meal look like and be for? Chris K Craze, we're gonna have you start with this one. See if you can tell us who that would be and what you would do.
If I could go back, I would say it would be the inauguration for President Barack Obama.
Wow.
It would be laid. Every
It froze a second. You there? Uh-oh. I think it froze. He should be, I think it'll unfreeze in a minute. George, you want to go ahead and tell us yours while Chris is wait a minute. Oh, are you there?
I'm
There
here.
you
And
are.
I
Okay,
did I
good.
disappear for a minute?
You did. So we didn't hear anything after it would be laid.
It would be laid.
Okay.
Again, it would be laid.
Yes.
Pull every bell, every whistle, because that was such a monumental moment for I feel like every single American in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have made sure that that was a moment that's never to be forgotten.
Yeah. So when you go into that process with that level of vision on, if you were to do that for Barack Obama, what will be the first step? Like, how do you look at that? Like it's got to have some red, white, and blue in it. We get that. Like, how would you go into that process? And what would the
Well,
color scheme be? Would you add other things there? Like, how does that work?
I would definitely add other aspects,
Mm,
and I would go into it completely outside of the box. So many people immediately go to flags and stars and red and white stripes. I would
mm-hmm.
do the complete opposite with keeping that same patriotic feel,
Oh,
recognizing
uh-oh. It froze again. I'm not sure. I think the connection is giving us a little bit of the blues right there. It's trying to keep us apart.
I,
It keeps freezing, but that's okay.
the devil is busy,
Patriotic feel. Hey, the devil is always busy. If I
but
was
he
him,
won't
I'd be
win
after
here, and he
you
gets no recognition.
too. I mean, think about it. If I was him, I'd be after you too. You're just that amazing. So
I know,
you were
right?
saying that it would have the patriotic feel, and then
It would definitely be outside of the box and not what people would expect.
mm,
Because that was such a pivotal moment in time,
mm-hmm.
and it deserves that extra oomph to not
Extra.
blend in with the rest.
Yes, I love it. I love it. George, what about you? If you could curate an event or meal for anyone, either dead or alive, who or what would that event or meal look like and be for?
Well, since Brother Parker just kicked me out the White House,
Hey, you can come
um,
too.
Yes, because y'all, I'm telling you, listen, y'all are one stop shopping, sweet, savory events. Listen, do it all.
but I tell you what I would like to do.
Okay.
It would kill two birds with one stone for me.
Okay.
Recently, there was a movie called The Bloods, directed and written by Spike Lee.
Okay.
I would have loved to have been uh, the craft services provider for that movie because one of my favorite directors of all time is Spike Lee,
Right.
and I would have got a chance to one of my favorite actors is Chadwick Boseman, the late great. So
Howard,
yeah,
hate you.
right, right. So and then there's just that great ensemble just to see the creative process. So
Mm-hmm.
for me to do that in the cook form, that would have been, I would have loved that opportunity.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. So if you were to do that, what would the palette be like? What would you cook? Because the next time I'm home, I'm just saying.
I got you. Well, each day I would take them on a different journey. So,
Okay.
with it being an ensemble cast, so I'm gonna take Chadwick since he was, graduated from Howard.
Yes.
That's gonna be This day is gonna be the Southern Day.
Bison through
Spike
and
is from,
through.
Spike is from the People's Republic of Brooklyn. Some of the greatest Caribbean food outside of the Caribbean you can find in Brooklyn.
Nice.
That next day is gonna be Caribbean. So each person, I'm gonna theme it, around either their hometown or where they grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Something to make them feel, at home because of course this is being filmed
Yes.
uh, in the jungle.
Right.
So of course I just want to give them the touch and feels of home as much as possible.
I love it. And I appreciate you guys sharing that. I appreciate you expounding upon that because I want people to understand that you all are there in Little Rock with a global view, right? Your creativity is not just centered around the South. It's constantly stepping outside the box, like you said, Brother Hard Barker, uh, and constantly putting together events and culinary expertise that will really help the people to branch out. So I really, really appreciate both of you all being here. I want to ask you really quickly to stay for one last segment because I know your time is important. But because all of us are in this fabulous, global, ever-changing industry where we interact with so many different types of people, there is the third segment of this show is always called, because it's hospitality, right? But
Hmm.
the last part is the last part is called Tell the Tea. Now, I always extend the invitation for my guests to stay so we can tell the tea a little bit. Now, we're not going to mention companies. We're not going to mention individual names because hospitality does not want to be sued for my little coin. Okay. But I want to offer you the ability to tell about an experience that it was just like, say what, say, huh? Okay. Yeah, because I know you got one and you're thinking about it now. And just talk about that real quick. Give us a little touch base on an event that just where you can tell the tea. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, and this actually happened when I first got started, like really seriously taking events. This was actually I'm not going to say that because then that'll be too specific.
Oh, don't be specific.
Anyway,
Mm-mm.
um,
Remember my
it was a client, it was a wedding cake.
okay.
And there were so many challenges with this particular client. And I really dug deep on a couple occasions. And I'm like, I understand. I'm going to work with you.
Because that's what hospitality is.
That at the end of the day, I can't go against what's here.
Yeah.
So, that's to me is the difference that sets me apart from other people because I have a true passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, did everything as according to schedule, with several missed payments, things. Yeah, arrived day of and set up the cake,
No, no. Mm-mm.
all this good stuff,
No. Miss payment.
and I didn't have an envelope waiting, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk it out. Let me
Walk
go.
it out.
Let me go walk it out. Let me go breathe because I'm a man of my word.
Yes.
And I expect for every single client and person that I deal with to be a person of their word.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely went against my company policy at the time.
Wait, I gotta put this comment. Somebody said, "Fix it, Jesus."
That part, fix it.
Fix it, Jesus. Take the wheel, will you please? Go ahead.
And it got to a point to where I was like, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I feel
Right.
like I've been taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I don't do well with.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to have a come to Jesus with a bride on her wedding day before she decided to walk down the aisle. Because there were so many moments leading up to
Mm-hmm.
this day. And I'm like, I've allowed you to, continuously
Yep.
sweep me under the rug, per
Mm-hmm.
se.
Mm-hmm.
And I've accepted it and I've worked with you. I've tried to, I've tried. I've
Right.
done my part. But if I don't get no check in about 30 minutes, I'm leaving and this cake leaving with me.
Come through. Yes. So what did you learn from that as a business?
I want all my hard earned coinage up front.
Up front.
Not
And
even
one
up
thing,
front.
return
Because
the
you can make and you can make a payment plan. It just
right.
got to be paid off a month before your event.
That's right. So that's how it works. So a month before the event. That makes sense.
And that's why deadlines are so important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
being honest with budget up front.
Is so important.
Don't sell yourself
Right.
a dream that you know you can't hold up to.
Because I will shut all this down. Okay.
Oh,
All this down.
turn the club up.
So I love it. Thank you for telling the tea on that one. Okay, so Chef George Christopher. Come on, tell the tea. Remember,
I don't even
no
know.
companies, no
I
names.
know.
I need to keep my coins.
I've been sitting here thinking, how am I going to tell this story?
I'm going to go on and put that back up there. They said, fix it, Jesus.
Look, since they saying fix it, Jesus, I'm going to say take your time.
Take your time. Take your time, George.
Here we go.
Okay.
I started off with it as a public service announcement.
Oh.
So if you are doing a private, I was doing a private dinner. So here's the public service announcement part. You might want to tell the chef that you're trying to fix the relationship.
Oh.
While you wanted me suited and booted, full chefed out.
Right.
Didn't explain to me, hey dog cat, we kind of in a bad spot. I can't go into too many more details. All I can tell you is this part. That garage open, person saw me chefing it up, and it was the most embarrassing thing
Really?
I've ever been a part of in my life.
Did they think you were someone other than the chef?
Oh no. But to watch a grown person die on the vine and that type of embarrassment
Wow.
because they didn't want to be a part of a dinner.
Oh, oh,
They didn't want to be a part of nothing else.
really?
Not even my stuffed salmon was gonna fix that.
It will
So
fix my dinner right now. But
Did
go
they
ahead.
at least take a to-go plate?
Right. Right. I'm gonna go and put Fix It Jesus back up there. But
brother, it was so embarrassing. So my wife was helping me. I was just like,
uh-huh.
well, we've been paid, and we played it,
Right.
and we're just gonna just tip our way on out the stove.
That's it.
But he enjoyed the food. I don't know
Somebody
what
said
happened
"When
after.
your stuffed salmon is good. That was the
That,
comment. But go ahead.
Wait, what is it
So
stuffed
how did
with?
it end?
that one was stuffed with artichokes, cream cheese, spinach, and shrimp.
Yeah, listen.
It's
I'll
done.
be there. I get to
Say
town
less.
Wednesday morning and we'll be there for about a week. But
Say less. It's done.
so wait, how did the situation end? You said your wife was saying you've already been paid, you played
I'm like,
it,
let's played it.
went ahead and left. Yeah, exactly.
But it
Right.
was so embarrassing. And they're good people, but it's just you. The lesson I learned is this: not
Look,
going to another.
look who
Once
just
they start a
tapped
situation,
in. The Mrs. Heyman. Yes.
you remember. She remembers. I'm like, you got to let me. I needed to do a little bit more of a consultation. Like, what is this
Mm-hmm.
for? Are you trying to fix something? Are you trying to get engaged? Are you trying to whoop de whoop, blase blase? Because that was just like I said. This is a private thing. This is in the midst of in the middle of the pandemic. So it was really, we followed all protocols and, but, ooh,
So wait, that brings me to a whole nother aspect, y'all. Listen, that brings me to an aspect of you all are delivering something into the space. You're creating food, you're creating events, you're delivering cakes. What kind of conversations do you have to consistently have with the people from a personal aspect? Like, are y'all still together? Like, how is this working? Like, do y'all have to have those conversations? Like, George, did you incorporate that into your business going forward? Having to have certain kind of conversations? Do you have to have a come to Jesus?
I do now.
You do
I do now.
now.
I do not, unless, if I'm going to have to be on site
Okay.
for the entire process,
Right.
then I'll have the complete conversation. If not, it's not my
Okay.
business. If I'm
Right.
dropping off and setting up, and I don't have to be a part of anything else, but if you're wanting the full pomp and circumstance,
Yes.
then we're going to have a talk.
Wow.
Because I need to know what I'm walking into.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? The
So,
same thing?
Absolutely the same thing. And I've been in situations and I've actually learned not to even ask. I don't I I show signs of sympathy and I kind of keep it on a moving
Yeah.
because I have learned not to ask too many questions because I don't want to be a counselor. I don't
Mm,
want to be a therapist. I
yeah.
don't I, sorry to say it, but I got enough stuff of my own.
Sure.
But I've actually been in situations where I've reached out to clients like, hey, you missed this payment. Your wedding date is coming up. And they're like, oh, I forgot to tell you, ain't no wedding. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now would be the time for us to discuss, the policy and hopefully, I hope you read your contract
Mm-hmm.
and you like, yeah, I've been in that situation where I'm like, and honestly, I don't really know what to say
Mm.
because they're probably emotional. I don't want to say the wrong thing and make you even more emotional, or I don't want to take you back to a place where you're trying to move away from. So I've
Mm.
just kind of learned to, express some sympathy and just kind of keep it moving. But
Wow.
it's definitely happened to me and
Wow.
a lot during the pandemic.
Yeah. The pandemic has created a lot of stuff.
She has reaped
Yes.
half.
I
find
mean,
out what kind of
look,
relationship you have.
Yes, little Miss Covitica has put it on out on the street, honey.
She's
All
out of control, and I'm ready for somebody to grab her by her hair and drag her on out of here.
yes.
I
So
don't condone
listen,
violence,
yes,
but
but listen, let's go on and get the COVID out, okay?
somebody get her out of
Everybody,
here.
please. So let me just wrap it up. I want to make sure everyone knows they're in Little Rock, surrounding areas. I want to give you guys both just a couple seconds to tell how people can reach you one more time, what you specialize. Wait a minute, somebody said it was the same house. What was the same house? The same house that did what? I don't know. Somebody commented it was the same house. I'm not sure what that meant,
I
but
don't know what
if
house
you
that
can,
is.
praise, baby. Give you give you guys a couple seconds to talk about your business one more time and tell people how to reach you. But I want to ask you guys, since you're both here, if someone comes to you for an event, how do you suggest they do that? What should they be prepared to come to you with? I know that you one of you said you have them close their eyes, and Chris, I think you said you just write things down, and George, you said you get them to tell you what it is that they really want by asking them about a vacation, a pleasurable experience that elicits all of the senses and everything that brings it together. How do you guys during the event, if you're not just dropping off and you're there, do you do anything during the event, like when you're right there in the event? How do you further create the excitement and the joy and all of that? How do you further enhance things? And do you go by any referrals? Do you get any business by referrals, that type of thing? And then I want to talk about how you guys could work together to do some events, like what people can come to you guys with collectively. So just, I know it's a whole lot, but it's so much I want to know. So much I want to know. I just want to open the door for people to understand how excellent you are right there in Little Rock and abroad.
Okay, well, for starters, Cake Craze was founded with its amazing cakes.
Yes.
We custom create cakes for every occasion.
Mm-hmm.
No matter the size, no matter the flavor, we can even custom create some flavors. Um, that's how we got our start. We stand firm on serving quality
Mm-hmm.
over quantity. I'm very big on that.
Mm-hmm.
And here recently, we're actually branching out and we're doing the decor and the event design, and we're going into that aspect of things. So people can contact me at www.facebook.com/Cake Craze Events. There you can submit any type of questions, inquiry, but
Uh-oh. I think it did the thing again. I
a
hate when it
date.
does. Oh,
How
there you
many guests are you serving? Can you hear me now?
go. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, all of those important upfront questions. What's your
Mm-hmm.
date? What type of event are you having? How many people are you accommodating? Those questions are very important for upfront conversations. Before I can give a quote for anything, I would need to know exactly what I'm accommodating and what specific services you're needing from me.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. And they can go on your website there to, email you, tell that one more time.
Absolutely. You can contact www.facebook.com/Cake Craze Events, or we can be reached at cakecrazeevents@gmail.com.
Fantastic. Fantastic. George Christopher, tell the people about
All right.
Whiskey Inspirations.
Whiskey Inspirations is a boutique catering of culinary events.
Yes.
I specialize in taking people on a food journey. So the best way to contact me to start your journey is very simple. It's through Facebook at George Christopher, or you can reach me at the Whiskey Inspiration page on Instagram, which is at whiskey_inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
The email address is whiskeyinspirations@yahoo.com. And when you email me or reach out to me via direct message, just be prepared to answer, the standard questions. What is your budget? When is the event?
Mm-hmm.
COVID protocols will be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
We have to look at how many people, so on and so forth. And then that's when I'll begin to walk people through the journey as far as cultivating a menu or the appetizers or whatever the situation is. I'll walk you through step by step of what we can do based on the budget that you provide for me. So look
Fantastic.
forward to it.
And I wanted to show one more time because Chris, I want to allow you to finish talking, and before it covers you up, Whiskey Inspirations. Let's have a food conversation. So definitely, I am so grateful that you gentlemen were here today. This is just like unbelievable. Listen, look, it says here. Somebody said, I love this podcast featuring my family and friends from Little Rock. Yes, this is what it's all about. All about. So I want to let you guys know, just like I tell every guest that has been here on Hospital the Tea, you are now Hospital the Tea family. So that means if there are events that you're doing, or if you added another aspect to your company, to Whiskey Inspirations, to Craze events, that means that you are always welcome on Hospital the Tea to do a little excerpt and tell the people about it. So we are definitely excited. I'm excited to have had you here, both of you, both gentlemen that are near and dear to me, that have known me since I had a Jerry curl. And so, wait, no, Chris Harden, you didn't know me when I had a Jerry curl, but Jordan, you knew me when I had a Jerry curl.
Well, we both had it.
We did. You know what we did? We had some Jerry curls, baby.
Listen, our curls would turn all the way over.
Yes.
Our curls turned out. We use big rods.
Big rods. Big rods. Big rods.
Well, let y'all soul glow.
Yes, for real. But I thank you guys for being. Somebody said, wait a minute, I'm mad at them. They said, Jerry Curl Soul Glow, come on through. And of course, Mrs. Heyman chimed in talking about you guys were excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We definitely appreciate, I definitely appreciate you guys wholeheartedly. Whiskey Inspirations, George, Christopher Heyman, and Craze Events, Christopher Harden Parker, for being here on Hospital the Tea. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight for yet another episode and watching live on Facebook or on YouTube, or as we are also syndicated on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment that just went live and in full effect about a week and a half ago. So we are now syndicated. You can download the app for JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment, where you can hear this episode again recapped at 2 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, right after I give you a few travel nibbles and updates. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for being here, and we appreciate you. Have a great night. Everybody can say bye. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for